Growing up with the rock and roll dad meant that I would be familiarized with virtually every 70s and 80s band as part of my childhood initiation. Not that I ever minded. There aren't many genres that manage to make me feel as transcendent and impassioned as rock does. But with a lack of bona fide bands in the mainstream nowadays, does rock music stand the test of time? On the docket, we have Boston's greatest hits, a selection of songs I'd generally describe as melodically spiritual symphonies that make good use of the organ. Rather than starting us off with a bang, however, we are mesmerized by the resonating soft power of Tell Me, a romantic ballad that is light on the progression, yet immersive with gentle, raspy vocals by David Sykes, who reminds me of former Pink Floyd member David Gilmour. The sacred journey of higher power, a precursor to heavy metal, is where the bang really begins. There are several parts of the song that keep it varied. The subtle whispers of Frank Cosmo, Tom Scholz, and Brad Delp harmonize with the guitar, and at one point culminating in a triumphant "yeah!" A built-up with dreamlike ambience, and the seldom heard sounds of the harmonica and hi-hat cymbal. We're then treated to Boston's most popular song and the highlight of my car rides, More Than a Feeling. What could I say, other than it sums up the band shtick? It has everything you'd expect: spirit, adrenaline, and an anthemic spectacle for the ages. Their other well-known song, Peace of Mind, is the kind that could mark the beginning of a great new day as you stroll happily in the city. It sounds folkish at times, and Delp's vocals are more engaged than usual. It's no wonder, considering the lyrics encourage you to take life at your own pace and enjoy it without wasting your energy on apprehension before your time is up. While Don't Look Back is thematically similar to that song, there are distinctions that help it earn its place on the album. Produced in the 70s, it sounds as clean as an 80s track because of how tight the instrumental harmonies are. The electric guitar riffs, especially those shivering moments on the bridge, are reminiscent of Kansas or even Styx, and the arrangements are somehow simple though complicated, a welcomed conundrum. Unlike Peace of Mind, the song also takes some quiet time for itself, an opportunity for listeners to breathe, no doubt. Cool the Engines is one of the few tunes here characterized by a cosmic motif. The prelude is like an unidentified flying object beaming you up, and Delp's singing is unusually higher pitched. The song is a favorable combination of Peace of Mind, Don't Look Back, and Higher Power, ending in a relaxing ride off into the sunset. We then revert back to the sweet, calming romanticism heard in Living For You that the album started off with, but it's more subdued than Tell Me, with Cosmos and Sykes' angelic trills and vibratos. The similarities to Peace of Mind and Don't Look Back become a little stale in feeling satisfied. It's a fun, celebratory bop that I could otherwise enjoy dancing to as long as I listened to it in isolation from half the songs on the album. I was worried that Party would follow suit. At first, I was pleasantly surprised. You get this feeling it'll be a reflective piece that asks, well, what happens when the party is over? But it doesn't sink in, as the song quickly turns into a full-blown jam. I would have preferred something subversive, though I won't deny that the initial surprise threw me in for a loop. After that disappointment, I was nevertheless grateful when Long Time brought back the much-needed extraterrestrial atmosphere with its aggressive staccatos, the occasional mysterious organ chords stylized like the Doors near the end, and a jovial turn after such a tense escalation. Not bad for a song about trying to move on from a failed relationship. If you've ever listened to Guns N' Roses' cover of Knocking on Heaven's Door, you'll undoubtedly notice some parallels with the next love song, Amanda, which features particularly haunting and beautiful vocals by Delp at the end. Rock and Roll Band is another one of those revved up tunes we've already heard, but it's nonetheless exciting, like watching a cinematic fight scene or Dangerous Drag Race. As the dramatized version of the band's story, or more accurately, its members' hopes and dreams, it's also a necessity in any enthusiast's collection. Although Smoking carries a comparable vibe, you can successfully do the twist to its organ-heavy progression. Lyrically, A Man I'll Never Be is my favorite of the bunch. It reads like a letter laced with a sense of hopeful vulnerability to someone its writer presumably strives to emulate, whether religiously or otherwise. Dub's vocals elevate this idea, lying somewhere on the spectrum between Steve Perry's wails and the late Fred Mercury's theatrics, along with the softer piano chords. Boston's instrumental rendition of The Star-Spangled Banner should have closed off the album. It opens with static, an industrial and otherworldly distortion that soon transforms into an intense march befitting of the American national anthem. In such a short time, this cover accomplishes a variety of moods. The Caldner edit of Higher Power, on the other hand, does the opposite of that. I may be alone in my thinking, but I don't believe the original is too long or disjointed that it needed a shorter and cleaner version. It has character, rendering the edit pointless. Still, the point of a greatest hits compilation is to appease the wider audience who popularized them, so I understand why several songs, as safe as they may be, made it onto the album. With indie bands slowly taking over the genre and music biopics on the rise, there may still be a chance for rock to shine through again. If nothing else, we'll always have Boston to remind us of what still is and can be, no matter how much time has passed.